Hello, welcome back to Bet Builders on Free Super Tips. I'm Statman Dave, and today I'm joined by James Allcott. Welcome to the show. You won a bet last time?
I did. I know things about football, so listen to me.
In moderation, guys. Anyway, today we're going to be talking about game week 15 in the Premier League. We're going to be giving you all the tips, and we're going to be building some bets as well. Of course, if you back any of the bets that we build, please gamble responsibly. First up, James, title favourites for you, go.
Well, I think it has to be Liverpool. Probably the deeper question is, who is a contender with them, right? Because surely it's Liverpool. No one's going, Liverpool won't win the league, right?
Hold on, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's rampant Reds are on such good form right now. You keep talking about this. It's going to be, it's going to come true, James.
Do you really believe that?
Do you
believe
absolutely
that? Right, good.
Liverpool are in such good form right now. It's going to go that way. But today, of course, we're going to be talking about Man United versus Leicester City. That is a huge game. Arsenal, Chelsea are facing each other, and of course, Big Sam is back up against Jurgen Klopp. I'm kind of excited for that. Of course, there's more tips over on freesupertips.com as well to check that out. Let's review the bets from last week. Game week 14, we had some big winners. FST cleaning up in the Newcastle Fulham game, the Brighton Sheffield United game, and of course, Man United Leeds. Flav coming big in the Palace Liverpool game, and I picked up a little bit of a dub in the West Bromwich Albion versus Aston Villa game. But anyway, it's time to build some bets. First up, we've got Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's rampant Reds up against Brendan Rodgers' Leicester City. Second versus third in the Premier League. Leicester were quite good last time out, 2-0 against Spurs. What do you make of them this season?
I think they're a little bit confusing. I don't think they believe they're title contenders yet. And I think obviously the bottling, if we use that word last season, it kind of was, wasn't it? They were in a really strong position last season. They did have a lot of injuries. And those injuries carried on into the start of this season, but they still were able to start quite well. The away form's really good. The home form's so-so. This is obviously a home game for them. So I'm intrigued because, for me, Man United have got to be the big favourites in this because of their away form. And because the last time I saw the two of them, it was almost like Leicester, and in a lot of these big games, I don't feel like they believe in themselves sometimes once the spotlight comes on them. The games against Man City in the past, that no one was expecting them to do something, and they did. Spurs, I think the same kind of thing happened. They were really impressive. I think 17 shots in that game against Spurs. But then when it's been, say, like the Liverpool game, they didn't really turn up. Or this game, again, I feel like it might be one where Leicester City fans might find themselves being a little bit disappointed. I don't know.
I think it's an interesting one. I think the side of Leicester is we don't really know what they're capable of. You're taking only Man United, Chelsea and Liverpool have scored more goals than them, but they've won 9 penalties, nearly twice as many as any other side, scoring 8 of them. If you take those penalties out, they're ranked 10th in the Premier League for goals scored, excluding penalties. Right. But also if you look at the shot numbers, 10 teams have had more shots than them in the Premier League. We take this Leicester City team as like a, kind of all-attacking, all-encompassing unit, but without penalties, they aren't a great side. I
think in terms of the personnel, there's a lot of players that people go, I quite like him, I quite like Harvey Barnes, I quite like Tielemans, I quite like Maddison, I quite like Fofana, but none of them are sort of men yet. Do you know what I mean? None of them have gone, I'm wicked, I'm one of the best players in this division, and this team's going somewhere. You have just
disrespected Jamie Vardy there, so we're going to have to move on to Manchester United, who hammered Leeds United 6-2.
Sorry, I didn't hear which game you were talking about.
Man United lead 6-2, James. The only score that was 6-2 last week.
Right.
Scott McTominay doing his Zinedine Zidane impressions.
Yeah, that was. I struggled with that as well. With Man United, I'm not there yet. I'm not convinced yet. If they take Leicester to task in this game and they're far too good for them, then I will start to go, yes, okay, Man United are going where they want to be. But that Leeds United game, the way that Leeds United play, there wasn't a midfield once you got past the press. McTominay and Fred were just sort of walking in 30 yards of space.
That's the beauty of Leeds United.
I agree.
They're organised. They play their way. Even at 4-0 down, they're still playing football. I think we've got to appreciate that. And Bielsa, who's got a lot of stick, we'll talk about him a little bit later on. But I thought Manchester United were very good. They were effective. They were efficient. They utilised that space. The 2 3/8 of Leeds couldn't deal with the forward movement of the 2 central midfielders. Okay. Simple as that. Man United win the game. I think Bruno Fernandes as well is just a player that's so confident. Reports this week, a bit of an interview for him, says he wants as many goals and assists as games. Now that is what you're talking about, a proper player that really wants to go. But James, let's dive into the bet straight away. What have you gone with this game? Man United to win and over 2.5 goals. So as much as we talk about you going for the crazy bets, this one's quite sound.
Yeah, I think the other thing I would add in there, if I could, would be that I think there'll be a penalty in this one.
That's not a bad bet. That's not a bad bet.
I think those are the top 2 in terms of the amount of penalties that they've got. I do think there'll be goals in this one. I do. I really do think there'll be goals in this one. I think it'll be one of the games of the weekend, not just because it is 2 teams that we're excited to see, but I think they'll have a go. I think Leicester at times have been a bit conservative. I think because of the disappointment of the Liverpool game in particular, I think they'll have a bit more of a go at this Man United team, and it's going to be a good one.
I think it will be. I think that, the one thing for this game, James Maddison looks back in form. Vardy's still scoring the penalty. So I do see goals in this game. I've kind of gone the same way. I'm looking at Manchester United to win the game, but I'm going Bruno Fernandes anytime. Away from home, Bruno Fernandes is kind of, one of those things you kind of expect him to score. Since making his Premier League debut, only Salah's scored more goals and no player's got more assists. This guy is on so much form right now. And the space that Leicester City have given Manchester United at number 10 in the last 2 league games, I think Bruno's the type of guy to really, utilise that spacing. In the league games, United won 1-0 at home and 2-0 away. I just think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's got Brendan Rodgers' number, that he'll sit off and he'll counter-attack in the right way. Rashford's looking in form right now. I think the confidence is flowing through. As much as Martial missed chance after chance against Leeds, creative-wise, he was quite good, 2 assists in the game. So I just think Man United right now, Bruno Fernandes inspired victory. That's what I'm going for. Let's take a look at FST's bet, free super tips bet for this game. They've got Man United to win. Both teams to score. Vardy anytime. Fernandes anytime. That's kind of a combination of everything that we're talking about.
It really is, isn't it?
It just summed up what we've done.
Penalty as well. They're both protecting them, weren't they?
I do like it. I think Vardy, he's always got a good record in these bigger games.
Are you worried about Vardy and Maguire? Or, Vardy and those 2 centre-backs?
No, you see, I think the thing with Maguire, because he was there, he kind of knows his game in a way. So I'd be less worried, more, of a controlling position, holding the right space of the pitch. I think it's probably a big game for Aaron Wan-Bissaka as well. From a defensive point of view, you're looking at Harvey Barnes being quite good. But James Maddison's the one I worry about. Looks in form, playing at number 10, the goal threat that he's got. So I like both teams to score. I do like this bet as well. So guys, if you want to back that, please gamble responsibly. Next up, we've got Aston Villa up against Crystal Palace. Aston Villa beat West Brom in the Midlands derby last time out 3-0. A really good display by Dean Smith's men. Of course, Crystal Palace got opened up by Liverpool, which was a bit of a weird game because I thought Palace played quite well, but then they lost 7-0.
Yeah, I mean, how can you say that Palace had moments when they lose 7-0? I think the fact that they're losing 7-0 is almost, there's some kind of positives to be found in that, because it means that they are having a bit more of a go. Liverpool scored quite early in that game, and so Palace had to come out a little bit more. Liverpool were very clinical, but Palace, they do offer a lot more than they have. Certainly last year, where was it, 31 goals or something like that? So I like Palace this year. I think they've got some exciting players that you can enjoy watching. Zaha as well as just... He's become a different kind of player, isn't he? Scoring so many goals this year. Yeah,
I think that's the big thing, for this game. It's kind of who's going to come out on top. Zaha versus Grealish. Like, as much as we, can talk about the rest of the players in the team, 2 talismanic players there. Who do you think is going to be, leading the way?
I think it's got to be Grealish for me. I can never, in any question where Grealish is involved, the answer is Grealish. Generally, I think.
What's my favourite dinner on a Thursday night? Jack Grealish.
What haircut do you want next? Jack Grealish. The shot creating actions that he's put forward. I think it was 43, Dave. If I'm treading on your stat toes there.
Look, mate,
miles ahead of anyone else.
I don't want to throw you out the studio, but I will do it, mate.
But I think things like that. When I'm in your company, I need to raise the levels. He just creates everything for them. I think it's 7 shot creating actions a game as well per night.
His record over the last 2 games has been pretty good. He's been over 5 chances created, over 5 shots. It's like he's hitting a level again that we didn't quite see. He's been moved a little bit to number 10 as well, so could potentially have maybe back to the left wing. You think what Palace do quite well is they block out that centre zone. They make you go wide. So maybe Jack Grealish wide left, driving at people. I think it's a real flip-up, and it kind of reflects my bet. But let's take a look at your bet first. Let's dive into what you've got for this game. You've gone for a draw, under 2.5 goals. So as much as we're talking about the 2 superstars of the Premier League this season, you've now gone under 2.5 goals draw.
The reason I say this is because I think Aston Villa defensively have been very, very strong this year. It feels like they go, right, Jack, you Watkins and Barkley when he's fit, you go off and do your thing, and we'll sort out the rest of it. And with Crystal Palace, I expect a response. And I expect a response defensively.
In a defensive manner.
Yeah, exactly. Hodgson's known for kind of working on the shape of the team to a point where it gets very, very boring for the players that he has, but it works. And so to lose 7-0, that's the kind of response that he will want. And so I see this being a draw because of that, I think.
Fair enough. You see, I've not backed goals or backed a result, but I've backed players. Simple. Grealish to score, Zaha to score.
The answer is Grealish.
The big thing with Zaha, 7 goals, 2 assists, been directly involved in 9 out of the 19 Villa goals this season. Grealish has been directly involved in 11 out of Villa's 24. So both of them, if I'm looking at sparks for this game, and I think this is a type of game where it could be open. Both teams, as much as they've been good defensively, and I agree with what you're saying there, when it's kind of like really sort of pushed to shove, it could just open itself up as a game. Because, the Villa like to counter-attack through Grealish. Yeah. Zaha likes to counter-attack with Palace.
Yeah. You've got Eze in there as well, my guy.
Benteke hopefully will be back as well, which he was missed the other game. Again, it's really nice to see Christian Benteke back for Palace because he was a very good player at Villa, his old club as well. That's the classic thing that's going to happen. Happens all the time on Foot Manager, so why doesn't it happen in real life? You know what I mean?
Guaranteed.
Let's move on to FST's bet right now and see what they've built for us. They've gone Villa to win the game and under 4 goals. Back in Villa, not the draw, James.
Yeah, I understand that. I think Aston Villa have been very impressive. I think they've got great balance in their midfield, and like I said, I think they're still in that evolution where they're not concentrating solely on attacking. They're still a bit conservative at times. I've been really impressed with them, so I'm not surprised that they've gone for Villa in this one, especially at home.
Now to London for Fulham versus Southampton. Scott Parker's men unbeaten in 3, including a 1-1 draw with Liverpool.
Yes, yeah.
Do you think they've got enough to stay up?
I do. I think going into the Christmas period as a fan of a team that has been in relegation battles, when you get to around
relegation
December,
specialist of the show,
it feels like it can feel like a slog, and you need to have a bit of hope. And I think teams like Burnley and Fulham in the last few weeks have given themselves that hope. I like the recruitment there at Fulham. I like the players that they brought in on loan, and they're not solely hanging their hats on Mitrovic now. They've got other players.
Well, they've kind of benched him, and they're playing it more of a fluid attack with Lookman, with Ivan Cavallero. I kind of agree. I like that they've gone away from this traditional, old school, let's whip the ball into the box. Now let's play through the lines, let's run at people. I think it's a good change.
A lot of dribblers, a lot of people running with the ball. Those sort of those big counter-attacks that might be direct, that's not Fulham now, it feels like, from the games that I'm seeing. They've got players like Anguissa who will take a couple of players out of the game by dribbling through. Anthony Robertson I really like on that left-hand side as well. So I think there's real hopes there, because the way if you play that way, you've also got men behind the ball a lot of the time. And so that means you're going to maybe concede less as well. So I think Fulham have got a chance.
You backing them in this game, though?
I think this could be a boring one, if I'm honest.
Okay, so you've just talked that they are the greatest thing since sliced bread, but you've gone for the same defensive draw under 2 points. Like, this is Boxing Day. You've seen that thing that goes around Twitter every single year, whatever the day it is, where there's about 12,000 goals that every social media in the manager in the country has got set up.
I forgot about
and then you're going for under 2.5.
No, well, this is where you've got this completely wrong day.
Fulham have been out for Christmas dinner? They're all feeling a bit heavy.
No, see, this is where you get it wrong. Boxing Day will be okay.
Yeah.
It's the Monday games. That's where the goals will come.
Okay, that's okay.
Yeah,
I like it. But you are thinking that this game's going to be a bit of a low-scorer draw.
I just think they'll defend quite deep, and I think they might be able to cancel out Southampton a little bit, because I think Fulham will probably go into this game with Scott Parker thinking, let's get another draw. Let's keep building this sort of momentum of being hard to beat. And Southampton, as good as they've been, I do feel like there's going to be a couple of games here where some of these teams might disappoint you a little bit, because teams are getting tired, so many games, and another game in about 48 hours after this Boxing Day game.
I think as well, stylistically, looking at Southampton's 4-4-2 against Fulham's 5-4-1, should we say, the 3 centre-halves, dealing with the 2 strikers, could be a little bit like a 90s game of football that is a little bit direct, a little bit kind of, not enough space for either team. But I'm backing Southampton. I think I've got to back Southampton here. I'm not sitting on the fence under 2.5 goals, James. I'm backing Southampton. I think they're in great form. They're looking really fresh. Danny Ings is fit/not fit/ keeps coming off injured and so forth. But Che Adams is a man that has definitely been doing the business this season. If you're looking at non-penalty XG for Southampton, he's top of their squad, outperforming Danny Ings in terms of the chances he's getting. I think he's in good form. Theo Walcott's in good form as well. They look quite good as a pair, even if Danny Ings doesn't play this game. Maybe you could use the pace of Walcott and Che Adams, stretch that back 3. I think you're going to back him. Simple as that. Simple as that, mate. Let's take a look at free super tips. Bet Builder today. They've gone to go with both teams to score on Ings anytime. So they're backing Danny Ings.
Dangerous, guys.
Dangerous. Dangerous from James. James is a very safe guy.
Possible mistake there. You just don't know if Ings is going to play. This is the problem with the bets that you're going to be putting on. We both like our fancy Premier League as well. So with those things, some players are going to be, the lineups are going to be strange, aren't they, in the lead up to it. Will Ings play this game? Maybe. I'd be careful about any goal.
7 days off. I think they've probably had a lot. They've had about a week off since last time.
Again, for me, it's not this game. It's the fact that you've got to play another game in a few days' time.
Now it's time for game of the weekend. Relegation threatened Arsenal up against Chelsea. It's a big 6-pointer for them.
It really is, isn't it? It's a tough time to be an Arsenal fan. I saw a stat that was saying they've scored 3 own goals this year, which is more than any other team, I think. And since they've scored, in the time that they've scored those 3 own goals, they've only scored 3 goals, and they were all penalties.
Taking as well the amount of red cards they have this season. Only Sheffield United, Burnley, and West Brom have scored more goals or scored fewer goals than them. Sorry, should I say?
Due a bit of luck, maybe.
Are they too good to go down?
No one's too good to go down. And do you know what I think with a lot of these things?
You see, I think they're too good to go down. I'm going to put my absolute head on the line here. They're far too good to go down. I'm just asking that in jest.
I'm not. I'm answering it.
With Martinelli back, Arsenal are back.
You're hanging your hat on Martinelli. I like him. He's a good player, but I think that's a lot of pressure. And that is the big thing I would say with this. And we've seen it in the past. With mediocre squads, and that squad is a bit of a mess at this point, when the pressure is on, these players will wilt, and the games are going to still keep coming thick and fast. They should be fine, but they could go down. Why not?
Why not? Get a lot of hate in the comments. I'm backing Arsenal still. They're going to stay up. And I think they might even go on to win a few games this season. Let's move on to Chelsea. They've got a bit of creative problems at the moment. You're talking James out, Chilwell out, Hakim Ziyech is still out with injury, potentially back for this game. But that is a lot of their chances they've created this season. That's 3 of the top 5 in their squad in the Premier League. Is that a problem for this game? Because we know that Arsenal can turn up under Arteta.
Yeah, and Arteta keeps using the word dominating games, and I don't think that's right. But I think there's a lot of time they are controlling possession. A lot of the time, they're just not really hurting the opposition's goalkeeper. For Chelsea, they have so much depth. That was always the thing with them is maybe the chemistry's not there with that whole squad yet, but they do have real depth in most positions. So. Emerson will probably come in. I think he came in in the last game against West Ham. So it'd be interesting to see what he can offer. Obviously, Chilwell is an upgrade on that, and so that is a bit of a shame. But I still think, you're talking about a bit of irony, narrative. Giroud maybe in this one? Is he going to get involved?
Imagine if he relegates Arsenal. That would be real sad times. Let's take a look at your bet. You're backing Olivier Giroud to score in this game. No, you've gone with Kurt Zouma. Correct score 3-0 with a whopping... I think this is the first time ever on the show. Let's get some GGs in the chat for James or in the comments below. 120 to 1.
Hello. I think it's a good bet, Arsenal are struggling at home. Chelsea do have that depth. Giroud, I think, will play in this game. Abraham played in the last game. I think, the rotation with those guys will continue. And I think, do you know what made me make this bet? It was the fact that Chelsea have scored so many set pieces this year, 6 as much as anyone else in the league. And Arsenal in that Everton game, Yerry Mina, Pepe marking him.
So let's just clear this one up, right? The amount of pundits I see going, he's marking him. It's zonal. You have blockers, you have zone defenders. They aren't marking each other. They block the run to come into the box to allow your defender to attack the ball. Just to clarify that little point. It's one of my pet hates in football, that.
Okay,
continue.
Regardless
of it, you can exploit the zonal system. Nice analysis, James. That's what we got.
You know what? Block him. You got someone. But no,
Zuma's the man to steam into the box.
Okay, answer me this question. Was that set piece goal very easy to score? Regardless of a zone or whatever?
If you defend zonally properly...
And that's not what I asked.
It's the best methodology.
That's not what I asked. I was talking about Arsenal defending properly.
Their zonal system at the moment would question it.
So we're on the same page there.
We're on the same page.
My point is that Giroud, Thiago, Silva, Zouma, all scoring goals from set pieces. I can see it happening.
So you're just going to go 3, not 5?
That's what I was just sticking with 3.
Okay. Let's move on to my little bet. I've gone a little bit more defensive. Chelsea, Werner, over 2.5 goals. Could be quite a 3-0 works out for me as well if Turbo Timo scores.
A little bit of pressure on our boys.
Absolutely not. Like people again, like the English media is terrible. Terrible.
Mr. Sitter against West Ham.
I would be more annoyed about a striker, right, if they're not getting into the positions.
But he's playing for Chelsea.
Yeah, but he's top 10 XG in the Premier League. He's getting into goal-scoring areas. The goals will come. Timo Werner's never been a clinical forward. Who's watched him in the Bundesliga and gone, that guy scores every single one of his chances? He misses a few.
But I'm sure the goals will come, because he is a very good player. But the pressure will inevitably build if his XG is so good and he's still not scoring.
Well, look, he's going to be back in Germany, playing for Bayern Munich in a few years, and he'll be one of the best players in the world. We'll be able to celebrate Turbo Timo again, because I'm backing him for this bet. Because I think that, look, be it him being criticised by fans, I think that he's still a very, very good player.
Oh, no doubt.
And I think that you're looking at Arsenal, transitional nature, Chelsea could hit him on the break, speed, pace. And I do think that he's going to be all right, okay?
Yeah, no, I think
I have to defend my brother, all right?
Yeah.
There's been a lot of criticism online with my brother. I have to step in and be like, right, okay, let's take a look at free super bet builder.
Chelsea have got a history of strikers struggling. That's all I'm saying.
Right, sad times, isn't it? How many went? Morata went. Torres went.
Torres, Shevchenko. Loads.
Shevchenko, I forgot about Shevchenko. Well, anyway, they got Chelsea to win 2-0, and also Olivier Giroud. So your chat before about Olivier Giroud doing the dirty on Arsenal. FST are back.
We saw it with Walcott recently, didn't we? So Giroud could do it as well.
I do like that again. I think Olivier Giroud's he helps Chelsea play sometimes because he's a proper penalty box, crossing the ball into the box type striker. And I think this could be a good bet. At 11-2, that is great value. Next up, Man City versus Newcastle. City this season.
Long breath.
They concern me.
City concern.
What do you make of them?
I think we're waiting for them to get into, which gear is it? What gear are they in? Let's say they're in first gear. I'd like to see you in third gear, please. Man City. Yeah, they're
even
just
second.
Even second gear would be nice. I think when we're talking about title contenders, their ceiling in comparison to where they're playing right now, there's a long way for them to go. They can play a lot better. Whereas, likes of Spurs and Chelsea and Man United, I feel like their ceiling and where they're playing is a little bit closer. So I think we're expecting it to come. Aguero needs to come back. I heard some talk about, they're saving Aguero for the second half of the season. I don't think it's as simple as that. But if he is playing, he will score goals and they will score more goals. The big thing for me is I still don't think you either need to get rid of Rodri and give Fernandinho a go and just let have one guy there, because when you've got possession like that, I just think there can be a bit more adventurous. It's not even adventurous. Just go back to the way you were playing a year ago. I don't understand why they're so conservative in having those two players, because they dominate the ball so much.
He's got a new assistant, hasn't he, that likes the double pivot versus Arteta, who likes the single pivot. So it's just one of these things where they're trying to move them on and they're just not. Like, I looked at the stats and it absolutely blew my mind. Again, I like the stats, but this is crazy. So they're ranked 9th in the Premier League for XG. 9th.
Wow.
For a City team that is consistently top. But even converting that to goals, so a metric that we all kind of just really get, they're ranked 11th in the Premier League for goals scored.
Wow.
What's going on?
That's not
right. With all that money, with all that investment that they've put in, how are they ranked 11th for goals scored?
The only thing, and I guess it's from that same kind of idea, are they being conservative in this chaotic first half of the year? I mean, and that's great visionary management if they're doing that, to then Fergie style kick in to the second half of the season.
Or are they just going to lose more young players that get disillusioned by being on the City bench? Phil Foden, Liam Delap. Yeah. You're looking at that first 11 and you're thinking those two players have got to have a chance here. Jesus has been shocking, like you mentioned. Aguero's, injured, not injured. Going to be leaving in the summer anyway. Kind of like they're looking to move him out potentially. Same with Phil Foden. Every single time he plays, he does well. Yet he doesn't start every week.
And if you play those two sitting players, that takes away an opportunity for Bernardo Silva, who's not actually been playing as much as he has done in previous years, and Foden and all those other guys, because that's where you were stacked before this. Yeah, I think, Pep, if you're watching this, just take the handbrake off, mate.
Yeah, one guy that's definitely not got the handbrake on this season is Kevin De Bruyne. Most shots, most chances created, and most tackles won for City. Is he in your bet though, James?
I can't remember, but we're about to find out. Hopefully.
We are about to find out. Kevin De Bruyne is in to score anytime. City to win the game and over 3.5 goals. So you're thinking City going to turn up? KDB's going to start shooting?
Yeah, I mean, I think De Bruyne could. I wouldn't be surprised if De Bruyne scored and got an assist in this game. I think it's a nasty little time for Newcastle at the moment. The fans aren't happy with what's happening there.
Of course,
and the way
losing to Brentford in the League Cup.
Losing to Brentford in the League Cup and played a very strong team in that. So when you're playing a strong team, then it becomes the style and the management, and so they're getting frustrated with that. I think the other thing was the Leeds game last week. Yes, Leeds lose 6-2 to Man United, but at least they have a go at them. And
Thank you. You're welcome on the show again.
Great. And then you see this game, you see the Newcastle Leeds game, and the stats said it all. You've got an entertaining team there, and then you've got Newcastle, who are definitely not that. This feels like the Burnley game a couple of weeks ago, where I think if they get one early, they are just going to sort of hang in there for their lives. Yeah, and I see it being 4, maybe 5.
No, I completely agree with you. I've gone Man City to win the game, and I've also gone over 4.5 goals. I'm not backing any goal scores, and I think this is the hopefully the banker this week. I just looking at it, it's got to be those stats about City's goals scored and where they're ranked is just wrong. Like, it doesn't make sense.
I know what you mean.
It has to change.
Yes.
Unless my fantasy football team will be put in the bin because I'm backing Kevin De Bruyne. Maybe that is a mistake.
I think, again, we keep talking about those two playing there. In this game, you don't do that. It's Newcastle.
No.
You know, you
Gundogan's
need
been
that
quite
extra
good
player.
recently, though. He has
like
been
him in the Liverpool
trying
game.
to get into the final third and contributing, but I do, like you're sort of saying, that starting position is deep.
It's just unnecessary.
Why not play an attacking midfielder? That's what we're going to ask. Let's jump over to free super tips bet builder for this game as well. They got Man City to win to 0. So they are back in the Diaz-John Stones combo.
Yeah, I mean, what's happening with Laporte at the moment? I don't know what's
It's
going
just
on
been
there.
Pep Guardiola'd.
Yeah.
Is the correct term.
Oh, right.
You don't do something right in a game, you don't play for a season.
Yeah, as much as about the centre-backs, I think it's just about Newcastle's approach, which will be very negative. You're hoping for Callum Wilson to do something, but I think that feels like a safe...
Under 4 goals in the game as well. Like you sort of mentioned, if the goal doesn't come early, this is a very nice bet. I do like it. I think it could be calm, collected, all good. So, it's time to move to the Steel City.
Let's
do it. Sheffield United versus Everton, a big game for Calvert-Lewin, who came through at Sheffield United.
Yes.
I think he's got enough to open up this Sheffield United defence.
Yeah, I think we're all kind of waiting for it to calm down with him a little bit in terms of the amount of goals that he's scored. But he's been brilliant this year. He has been absolutely brilliant this year. I think this is what I've got a funny feeling there's going to, like I say, around Christmas time, there are a few weird results. And I do wonder if Sheffield, this one might play into Sheffield United's hands a little bit. Less so about Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who actually Sheffield United centre-backs are probably quite happy to not have... They probably want to go up against someone who's big and strong and who might stand there a little bit more. I know Calvert-Lewin's a bit more than that. It's more it's the back line for Everton and the not having fullbacks that are going to push on because of Holgate and it's Godfrey, isn't it, who's been playing at left back. You've got 4 centre-backs there. I think that might help Sheffield United a little bit just to sort of stay in this game and maybe get that first victory of the season, which has got to come at some point. I just feel like this
you
might
say
be the
that,
one.
but they could go a whole season without picking up a win.
Yeah, and
it's
Everton,
possible.
Yeah, and Everton have been brilliant in the last couple of games as well, beating Chelsea, beating Arsenal. So it's more of a gut call, that one. I just feel like sometimes these kind of random results happen, and yeah, they've got to win at some point. So I'm giving them a chance in this one.
I've been reasonably impressed with them. They've kind of changed
they've
up
been
their
a bit unlucky
shape a
at
little bit
times.
of a 5-4-1 at times in games after substitutions. It looks a bit better, as you mentioned, the Everton fullbacks, centre-backs playing out wide. That's where you'd kind of expect. This is going to be a big, big game for Charleston if they want to open the door for Calvert-Lewin, who we previously spoke about. Let's dive straight into the bet. Are you backing Chris Wilder's boys to get their first Premier League win?
Come on! Come
Jesus.
on! Today! Well, not today, on Boxing Day. That's when it happens. Come on,
So you're going Sheffield United to win the game, and you are going under 2.5 goals in the match. So this is a 2-0, 1-0, 2-1 type game.
Yeah. I think it'll be close. I think it might be a set piece. But I think Sheffield United have been in the bulk of their games. And, I love an underdog. The comeback starts here, guys. You watch.
Okay, I'm not...
Not having it?
I'm not saying no, because my bet's reflective of something similar. I've not backed a team. I'm not exactly sure which way this one's going to go, because I thought they were good against Brighton. They were resolute, they were aggressive. It looked more like last season, when they took a lead. They were like, right, come on then, break us down.
Yeah, unfortunate in that one, having a sending off. I thought they were unfortunate against you guys in the fact that Sander Berge gets injured really early, and then you've got to put Jagielka on and put Basham in midfield, and I think that hurt them quite a lot. I think they got their line wrong as well. I thought their line was far too high, but the plan kind of goes a little bit once those little things happen. So I think they've been unlucky at times.
Ollie's rampant Reds would have rolled them over anyway.
I'm
I
sure,
don't know what
I'm
you're
sure,
talking about. But I'm going Calvert-Lewin to score any time as well. XG numbers, 11 goals in the Premier League. Highest non-penalty goals. I think he's just a man that, like you're sort of saying, is in real good form right now. Let's jump over to free super tips bet builder as well. They're going to go with both teams to score and Calvert-Lewin any time. So a similar type of vibe where this one could be a bit of a aggressive, tasty affair with a single goal in the game, maybe 2 goals, both teams to score, a draw.
Yeah, it makes sense. I think that's I always go a bit. I go too far, don't I? It seems.
Sometimes.
I'm learning though. But these, I think, are the. You're more likely to go. These are going to come in more likely than my one. But come on, Sheffield United, win a game of football.
I'm learning.
I'm learning.
Leeds United, what a team! 15 goals in 2 games, sticking to their principles. Burnley.
Very different.
4 games, 2 wins, 2 goals conceded, sticking to their principles.
It's a game of principles, isn't it?
Is it important to do that? For Bielsa's men to attack, for Burnley to be defensively structured?
Yeah, I think, it's worked for Burnley, it's worked for Leeds. Burnley, for them to be in the Premier League as long as they have and to be as comfortable as they have been, means that works for them. Leeds, totally different. I love the way that they play, and they mustn't change. And I think, like, say that the way I was talking to Flav about it actually, and he was saying you can't concede these amount of goals. I'm like, well, they've scored 24, and the goal difference is better than a lot of these teams that are playing really, turgid football. So, and then with the Man United game, 6-2, that's like a 4-0. But, do you know what I mean?
No, I completely agree.
So have a go. Why not? This game is going to be just like, it's almost like a chemical experiment. Like, it's going to be.
Which style is better?
I kind of, the purist in me wants it to be Leeds. I've got a funny feeling this is Burnley's though. I think the set pieces is the big thing.
That's a very, very good point. So let's move on to your bets. Are you going to go with Burnley? Are you going to go with Leeds? Are you going to go with a draw again and sit on the fence, James? You've got Burnley to win the game, over 2.5 and Wood any time, who's slowly getting himself up the scoring charts.
Yep.
Playing really well. I think in terms of Burnley, you look at what the problems with Leeds are at the moment. They don't have any centre-halves.
Yeah.
They've got one centre-half in Cooper. Ayling's playing there. There's problems at set pieces because they're still going man-to-man. I saw in the game that Calvin Phillips was picking up Lindelof, and I was like, that is going to cause a problem. And then 5 minutes later he scores?
Yeah.
It's just, I feel sorry for Leeds in that sort of sense. Last season in the Championship, they conceded 12 goals in 48 games from set pieces. So their methodology is right. They unfortunately just have players injured at the moment.
Yeah.
And against Burnley, that is going to be a problem.
I think it is going to be a problem. And I think also you've got to remember when games are played during the season. I do feel like everyone can have a bit of a sort of buzz at the start of the season. There can be these weird results. But then the sort of like the slog of the season occurs. And that's actually where it helps Burnley because they've got good pros. They're well drilled. They're solid. And so they'll win, that game against Arsenal. I wasn't overly surprised with it because, good at set pieces, good set piece takers in Brownhill and Westwood. And in the way that they play, it will come good for you at some point, especially, I think, round this part of the season. I think any team during the season, there's moments where you have to bend but not break. This is the time, I think, for Leeds. I think they're gonna really pump some teams, and they're gonna get pumped by a few teams. And I think at the moment, this is one where it might, with the injuries and the amount of games, I think it just might be a bit too much for them at the moment, but I think they'll be absolutely fine this season. Absolutely fine.
I do like that. I've gone the other way, though.
Okay.
I've gone Leeds.
Yeah,
I just think with Bielsa playing a two-man strike force, he classically goes to this crazy 3-3-1-3 formation that is like a little bit bonkers.
Yeah.
But it works, and I think that will be a really interesting tactical battle, like how he plays against this 4-4-2 that is Premier League proven. Like that system and that strategy has just worked throughout the entirety of the Premier League. Burnley do it. They're one of the best at it in the league.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a great game of football. And the other thing with Bamford, he's missed a lot of chances recently, but he keeps getting there. Yeah. Same thing with Timo Werner. That I think a time will come where Bamford will hit another rich reign of form. He'll score. I think it's going to start now. I think Burnley, in terms of the centre halves, he's going up against a physical as strong. But we know Bamford's got a bit of class about him then.
Even if his ratio isn't as good as others, he gets so many more chances than other teams that he's always worth a bet. I think every Leeds game is like a boxing match because you don't know if they can handle Leeds until you see it, right?
Yeah.
And the same could happen with Burnley. They might not be able to handle that high octane that football that Leeds put forward.
They're going to be pumping a lot of balls into the channels, James. That's what I expect right now. Let's take a look at free super tips bet for this game. They back Leeds draw double chance, both teams to score, and over 2.5. Over 2.5 is an interesting one because, as I mentioned before, Burnley have conceded 2 goals in the last 4 games. Tarkowski, Ben Mee, they're back together. Nick Pope's in goal again. It's like the band's come back together.
Yeah, that's true. It's about Leeds, isn't it? The XG of Leeds is so high, at both ends, and so I think over 2.5 it makes sense for me. I think we both put that in both of our bets, didn't we?
Now on to Brighton versus West Ham United. Brighton have got loads of expected points, but we all know that stats mean absolutely nothing, and goals are the real stat we should be caring about. They've had a bit of a problem there. Do you think this could be a game where they can open up West Ham, who have looked defensively very, very sound?
I'm struggling with this one. I really struggle to put a bet on this one because, Brighton are good. I think people like Brighton. I think we like the way that they play. Like you say, their expected points are quite high. But it's not happened for them just yet. And that's, again, there is that kind of moment where you go, oh, maybe we're not very good, and then the pressure comes, and then the points don't come, and it can be quite difficult for them. I've been so impressed with West Ham this season. For Brighton, they just need to score more goals. They need to score more goals.
Simple as that.
Yeah.
Brighton, score some more goals. No, I kind of agree with you there. Let's take a look at your bet, James, and see what you've gone with here. I imagine it's going to be a West Ham to win the game and Thomas Souček any time. So you're thinking set piece, Arriving late in the box, which one are you going for? Tell me which one.
Which
one is it? It's not both. It's one of
Okay,
them.
arriving late in the box, I'm going to go with. Yeah, I think the big thing with me with West Ham is, I've just been impressed with their organisation. I think David Moyes deserves a lot of credit for all of that. I think they feel like a bit. I remember Harry Redknapp had like a Portsmouth team, and they're all 6 foot. They're all like quite big and quite athletic, and I feel like that's the kind of people that David Moyes is trying to bring into this team. In terms of the bet itself, I went with Souček because I just think he's great value in terms of being able to score a goal from midfield. So you get good odds for someone like him. So that's why I've gone with Souček.
Strategy. I've gone very direct with this one. I've gone with put your hat on the line here. 2 on West Ham.
It's gone specific.
Gone very specific. I think it's going to be a cagey affair, but I do think West Ham have got enough in this game. The thing with Brighton, I think they need to speed up their transition. They're too slow. They're too slow to get to the final third. That's some of the best possession-based teams in the world. As soon as they win the ball, they'll go quick. Liverpool do it. Leipzig do it. Brighton have a similar style, but I feel like it takes them too long to get to the final third. And then you see one of the back three or the centre mids trying to have a crack at goal.
Is that a personnel thing? Have they got that? Have they got that available to them in terms of?
No, I generally think there's got to be a different,
attitude.
a different type of attitude when they win the ball back, not just to retain possession. Go for them. They have been creating, they have been getting these opportunities, but they're not they are obviously of a high quality XG, but it's usually against a packed defence.
Right.
So it's going to be less likely that you're going to score when there's 3 players around, especially with West Ham United as well. 3 centre halves in there, back 5, quite a lot of games. They have obviously flirted with the back 4 in recent weeks as well, but I just think it'll be West Ham 2-1 win. 9-1, it's a bit short, but it'll be quite good. Let's take a look at Free Super Six Bet Builder right now. We've gone West Ham, draw, double chance, both teams to score, and Souček any time. So on the hype train.
Yeah. Copying.
For our penultimate game, it's the big one. Big Sam.
Oh.
Jurgen Klopp.
He's back.
A clash of styles.
Yes.
In terms of the games between the two managers, Big Sam with 1 win, 3 draws, and 2 wins for Jurgen Klopp. Quite close.
He's out-tacticated him in the past.
He has gone over the press, which he may do again, but to who?
Has he ever gone under the press? Has that ever happened?
Probably not.
No. I just think that around this time of year, I've said it a couple of times, some weird results happen. And I've just got a funny feeling he's a percentage-based coach, right? And he will... I remember the Everton-Liverpool game, 0-0, absolutely stunk the place out, Allardyce did. But he was happy with it. He was like, we stopped the best attack in world football, which is, a
very valid point.
A very valid point. But I think with a week to get himself ready with this West Brom team after losing 3-0.
And also losing the captain.
Yeah, exactly. I think that team will listen, and they will listen to this defensive approach, and they will abide by it to the letter of the law that Allardyce will put forward. And I just wonder, guys, if somehow there's a little shock on its way here. Shall we have a look at that?
Did you watch them beat Crystal Palace, James? No, you didn't. 0-0, no goals scored between either team.
Bang, bang.
Did you see the clinical finishing? Firmino, Salah, Mane. It was mind-blowing how clinical they were.
It was in the past as well. We've got to move forward as a footballing community here. Allardyce does, that's what he does. He plays percentage football. I think they'll be on board for it. They will not be bothered about... He wants his team to not be bothered about attacking. And they will not be bothered. They just don't want to get embarrassed. I might get this horribly wrong. They might lose 5, 6, 7-0. Fine. But I'm just having a bit of fun, guys, right? And I like the underdogs. So go on, Big Sam. Have a go. Have a go at not scoring.
Yeah, I think that is an interesting bet. Put it that way. A very interesting bet. I've gone completely the other way.
Yeah,
Liverpool to win the game. Mane, Salah, Firmino.
Oh, bang, bang, bang.
Going for a lot. I'm going for the hat-trick this week. I think you're looking at each of those players. The hunger of Mane when he gets subbed off, frustrated. I thought his finish was superb, one of the best. That little Cruyff turn finish into the bottom corner. Salah, unbelievable last goal. And then Firmino linking that counter-attack. I think Liverpool will get an early goal. Trent is looking back in form as well. Robinson's been very good this season, but Trent is the guy that's the real key guy in the final third. I think with him frying, Liverpool are just going to absolutely destroy Big Sam. Can just see it this week. I think it's too soon. I think that's where I'd counter your point of defence and organisation. It's only 2 games in. Big Sam and Tony Pulis.
Yep, I know.
It will take a bit of time. It'll take about a month until the results, until the defensive side comes out. I think this could be an absolute walloping, and Big Sam just to sit back at the end of it and say, well, they've got a really good team, and I've only been here for 2 weeks. So
I think you're right. If they can get to half-time, keep kicking it out, waste the clock, you might have a chance when the pressure builds. You never know.
I hope one day you never become a football manager, James. Your team will be horrendous to watch. But Mohamed Salah's got the best shooting goals added in the Premier League this season, measuring the quality of finishing. So that's why he's in the bet. Mane as well, I think his anger's there. And Firmino goes through these runs of form. I think he's in one right now. Let's take a look at free super tips bet builder for this game. Liverpool scoring both halves, over 3 goals in the game. Salah and Mane any time. So James, there's some people have sat on one side of the fence, and you're basically in the next field.
Game's about opinions, and I've got a different one. You know, nobody knows. That's the beauty of this. I'm just saying, crazy things happen. Maybe it will happen this week, and I look forward to the memes on Twitter.
And finally, Wolves versus Spurs. How do you think Jose Mourinho can deal with Daniel Podence and Pedro Neto?
I don't know. Well, I think what I've been waiting for with Spurs is there going to be a different strategy for these other kinds of teams? And actually, Wolves and Leicester are kind of in that similar tier, maybe, as good sides. For Wolves not having Jimenez obviously playing Silva now in these games, I do feel like they're obviously, take someone like that out, especially someone who's clinical as Jimenez for them, then they're going to struggle a little bit. I really like Podence. I really, really like Podence. But I can see them getting kind of snuffed out a little bit in this game. I guess the thing for me is, does the Spurs team kind of wobble after that last result, the last 2 results? I think they need to stick with the strategy that they've got. I don't think the most exciting of games. It will be one in transition for Spurs if they can do it. But I think as long as they're kind of careful and stick to that strategy, I think this game should work quite well, I think.
I think both teams do suit playing on the counter-attack. Wolves this season, on average, have had 49% of the ball in their game. So they do like their opposition to have it, which opens up this space. We know that Mourinho's going to play Sissoko. He's going to play Højbjerg. They're going to basically try and block out, the likes of Podence. Like Pedro Neto has been one of my favourite players in the Premier League this season. Fresh, aggressive, runs at you, takes you on, creates chances, but also works very hard in terms of Wolves. He's number 2 in the squad for interceptions. Right. So he's got a good level to him. Yeah. And if we're looking at the Jose Mourinho Portuguese players through Wolves to go and play for Jose Mourinho because of something that we can't talk about, that could be the next player coming through. I think Neto would be a very good Jose Mourinho player, works hard and is also very skillful. Yeah. I do like that there. Fabio Silva as well, won the penalty, scored it against Burnley. He's a talent. Yeah,
I feel like they still need a bit more of a target. Maybe that's just because I've got Raul Jimenez in my head a little bit, but a lot of hype over Silva, and quite a fee for him as well. So I think in the sort of grand scheme of Wolves, it's great that he's getting those minutes. It's going to be interesting to see how he comes on, because I think they do believe he is going to be the future. But if he is the future, does that mean that they're going to have to start playing slightly differently? I don't know. It's going to be interesting.
Well, they've toyed with a 4-2-3-1 at times. Will they'll play against Jose Mourinho? We'll have to see. But let's dive into the bets.
I've got Spurs win.
Oh, this is the classic. This is what we call the FST in any Spurs games. They kind of go with it a lot, and it comes off a lot. Spurs to win, Kane to score, Son to score.
I don't know what else you can put a bet on.
It's the holy trinity of bet building.
Yeah, I don't know. I think from my memory, and I know obviously people do that with bets, they kind of remember the previous games. And Wolves always feel like Wolves have generally been quite unlucky against Spurs. There's been a few last minute goals and things like that, and the Spurs have not played brilliantly but got themselves over the line. I think this could be one of those. I don't think it'll be a great game of football, but these two, they only pass to each other. So I think that's probably going to be the order of this game for me. Kane to score and Son to score. They'll probably do one for each of them. Win 2-0. That'll be it.
Easy, yeah. My bet's a little bit different. I've gone with a draw, actually.
Fair.
And then the styles, both counter-attack, and I think there's going to be...
You can see a 1-1, can't you?
Yeah, it's not good. I can't see it being a great game. No. I think Kane missed a big chance last time against Leicester at the corner from Son that he headed over the bar from at 5 yards. It's one of these things where I think Harry Kane will come alive in a game like this on the counter-attack, linking play, and then maybe getting shots away outside the box could be a method. But I do think Wolves have got enough to come back. Yeah. The Adama Traore is kind of like kryptonite for Jose Mourinho. The amount of players that you can stack on Adama and he can still beat you and get the ball into the box. So I think that could be the methodology for them. Let's take a look at free super tips bet builder for this game. Have they gone Wolves? Have they gone Spurs? Have they gone draw? They've gone Wolves. Double chance. Over 3.5 goals. Neto and Son. So they're thinking it's a bit of they've gone away from the classic FST bet. I'm kind of disappointed, James.
Yeah, well, again, that highlights that we've all got opinions, and this one is very different to ours again. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing that generally FST don't seem to want to go with my picks. But Neto, look, you spoke about him yourself. Said he's a great player and he's getting
great
better.
goal against Chelsea.
Yes, yep. And Son's been one of the players of the season, hasn't he? So I understand it. I'm not sure.
That's my question mark as well.
Not sure about that one, guys.
But they're going to prove us wrong. So there we have it. We have built some bets. Of course, if you're going to get involved with any of the bets that we've built today, please gamble responsibly. James, thanks for coming on the show. Where can the people at home find you?
You can find me on YouTube. Just search my name or surname, maybe, ALLCOTT.
Simple and effective. Guys, we'll be back for game week 16 in the Premier League to build some more bets.